Not too long ago, I received an invitation to an event which is taking place in my community. An event called the Dia de los Muertos. Muertos. It's the Mexican Festival of the Dead. Now, I've known for a long time that there was such a celebration, but frankly, it's a celebration I don't understand and that I never paid much attention to. But when I received this invitation, I was intrigued. The festival is taking place October 29th from 4 to 8 p.m. And it's just not that I'm invited, you are invited too. The invitation is in your worship guide, so plan to come if you can. But here's what happened. When I saw that invitation, I was taken aback by the artwork. I actually found it confusing. Take a moment to look at the invitation in your worship guide or just Google Dia de los Muertos. Look at the artwork. Does it make you feel something? Do you feel in the shift in your body? Is it that, for me, it was the disconnect in my understanding between skulls and flowers? That seems to be the motif. Skulls in general. And how do you respond? Pay attention to your body. What do you think about the butterflies around the edges? What do you know about the Dia de los Muertos? You know, as I was reflecting on the artwork, I also recognized that it wasn't just the artwork that I didn't understand, but the words. There's a disconnect in the words. There's a gap in my understanding, too. There's a disconnect. How can you have a festival that celebrates death? How does death become festive? These are all things I'm not quite sure I understand. Which means what? If we listen to the wisdom of Victoria Lourdes, this is an opportunity for an authentic conversation. So guess what? We're going to have an authentic conversation, not with me, but next week, Lucia Valdivia Sanchez will be with us and she will teach us about this Mexican Day of the Dead. This will be an opportunity for authentic conversation. And if you come to the festival, it doesn't have to be this festival, just find a festival and make sure you're welcome. But the festival itself would be an opportunity to engage in some authentic relationship building. And that will close the gap between us and them. So anyway, in a few minutes, I'm going to say more about Dias de los Muertos, knowing full well that when Lucy comes next week, she'll probably undo everything I've done. But that's okay. I need the correctives. But before I talk more about the Day of the Dead, I want to lift up something else that I don't fully understand. And that is all of the overlapping holidays, which begin happening at the end of this month and then fall over into November. I don't know why I've never paid attention to them before. If you look at the back page of your worship guide, you'll see the list that I'm talking about. The first holiday shows October 10th, which is now Indigenous Peoples Day. Used to be Columbus Day. There's a gap. There's a separation there. So I encourage you to explore that gap if you're not familiar with the switch or the change. But the next holiday that is listed is the festival in Crescent City, October 29th, the Day of the Dead celebration, November 29th. Now, the next thing that happens is Halloween on the 31st. And then there are two Christian holidays. November 1 is All Saints' Day. November 2 is All Souls' Day. And by the way, November 1 and 2 are actually the official dates for celebrating the Day of the Dead. We just happen to have the festival on over the weekend. So, not only do all these overlapping holidays occur at the gap between October and November, if I dare say it that way, it also happens again at November, December. At the end of November, Advent begins, and that's actually the beginning of a brand new year, according to the church. We Christians celebrate Advent with a sequential lighting of candles. And you know what? During the very same time period, the Jewish folks also celebrate Hanukkah with a sequential lighting of candles. And then there's Kwanzaa, which is a Pan-African celebration, which involves a sequential lighting of candles. The same thing happens for those who celebrate the winter solstice. We do it again on Christmas Eve, right? Every Christmas Eve, we have a candle lighting ceremony where we sequentially light each other's candles. Now that I've recognized these patterns, I got a kitty jumping up on me. Once I recognize these patterns, I also recognize a gap in my understanding. And I began to wonder, what, if anything, do these celebrations have in common? And what, if anything, might the people who celebrate these holidays have in common? So I took a few minutes this past week to look at what's happening at the end of this month, at All Saints Day, All Souls Day, Halloween, and Dia de los Muertos. And here's a little of what I learned.